Welcome to Just Travel with Sandy. Hey, everybody, I'm Sandy, your guide to stress-free and exciting travel. And this podcast is all about turning your travel dreams into reality. So whether it's dealing with the overwhelm of planning a trip, overcoming travel anxiety, handling language barriers, embracing new cultures with confidence, or anything in between. And it's all about sharing practical travel tips to help you navigate new destinations with ease. So regardless if you're a seasoned traveler or just starting out, this is your space to gain the mindset and tools to explore the world with joy. And I have some exciting news. Sandy's Travel Lounge is now open. It's a fun, welcoming community for like-minded travelers. There will be events, laughter, expert advice, curated itineraries, and all things travel. Today, I am so excited to have a younger person on the podcast. And for me, I love when young people travel. So Jazzie Newton is with us today, and I'm going to let her share her story because it's so powerful. But basically, from what I got is after school, she was trying to find her version of success, never felt right. And so she started to travel. So again, I'm not going to share her story. I want her to share her story. So Jazzie, thank you so much for being on the call today. And why don't you share your story, how it came about, how 2 months went to 2 years, right?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for having me. I can definitely share a bit about my story. I was living in California and I graduated from university in 2019 and started full-time traveling in 2022. So I graduated and did any job that I could find. I was a nanny, a kickboxing instructor. I worked tons of retail, Starbucks, and all that kind of stuff. And I was working three jobs at any given time to afford the lifestyle and to just do everything that I needed. And it wasn't that fun. Working from like 4 a.m. to 9 p.m., 6 days a week was not like my ideal lifestyle. And I was living with my ex, and he wasn't my ex at the time, but yeah. Anyway, and it was a bit of a toxic situation, and he wasn't working. So I was really working to
Wow.
make everything work and the sole breadwinner, basically. And I just realized I'm working this hard for a life that I don't even want. This isn't even the life that I want. This is the life that somebody else wants. He couldn't travel, and I was like, okay, that cannot be the reason that I don't travel. And so I said, I'm going to do this 2 month trip. I want to move out of the apartment so that I don't have to pay double rent because I was paying all the rent in California. And I want to travel for 2 months and then we'll see what happens. And so I planned 1 month in Puerto Rico because my parents were moving there, and then 1 month in Portugal. And Puerto Rico was a lot of fun because I still had a support system and everything. Ended up breaking up with my ex and just seeing what life would be like. I was with him for 8.5 years. So it
Oh,
was
wow.
pretty much my entire adult life. And so I just wanted to see what was out there and explore, and really quickly started to re-meet myself and have all these really cool experiences, meet a lot of people, realize things that I thought about myself weren't actually true. And then I got to Portugal, which kicked my butt for sure. Talk about language barriers
Language.
and food that I had never tried, and a country that I had never been to with zero support system, going through like a breakup, all this stuff. I was like, I did not give myself any chill moment there. Like, I didn't give myself any slack when I chose Portugal. It just sounded really fun. And it was one of the hardest months of my life for sure. But I ended up meeting my absolute best friend. Like, I talk about this story all the time. We just had this connection, and we didn't talk for too much, but she continued to like comment on my Instagram posts and stuff, and just could feel her support. And yeah, now 3 years later, almost 3 years later, we're still best friends. And I realized after Portugal, like, that was really hard, but I still got through it. And I don't think I'm ready to go back. So throughout 2022, I just did, okay, we're going to do 2 more months. Okay, 3 more months. Okay, a couple more months here. And then in 2023, it was like, I've had this idea in my head for 2 years now of going across the entire globe and just going to different countries, like really traveling. And my goal was 20 countries. And I did that. I did 20 countries over 5 continents. And it was the most insane thing that I've ever done. I was still running a business and everything. And so it was just like, go to the next place and explore and just get a taste for all of these places because I had really only been to Europe and North America at that point.
So how, when you did all that, and I love that you did that because you're so young, right? And it's like, why not? Why not go? My first question is, did you just randomly choose Portugal? And then the second question is, you worked while, so you had your business, your online business, I'm assuming. So to use the now term digital nomad. And then the visa situation, did you just stay long enough till you needed a different visa, or how did you do that?
So I chose Portugal because I had just always wanted to go to Portugal. I thought it would be
Okay.
really cool. I had heard great things. I personally, even though Portugal was very transformative for me, did not enjoy Portugal. I enjoyed the people that I met in Portugal, but it wasn't so much my place.
Mm.
And that was the first thing that I realized while traveling was I spent the first 2 weeks in bed. Like I could not get out of the apartment and wasn't really able to do too much. And it was really hard for me. But the realization that I had was this place is for me, whatever it's going to be for me. I don't have to say, oh, I'm in Portugal. I should be going out. I should be doing this, like putting that pressure on myself. So, yeah, I just chose Portugal because I thought it would be really cool and interesting. And then, sorry, what was the second question?
So
I
the
only,
second question, no, you're fine. I've been to Portugal. It's beautiful, but it's also not my country. So I totally get it. I think, and everybody's different, right? Everybody resonates. You're going to share where you wound up now. But my question for you, so you supported yourself in running your online business. And then the other question is, how did you navigate the visa situation?
okay. So yes, I supported myself with my business. I started a virtual assistant business in 2021 and then just used that to travel because I realized I could take it full time and go fully remote and not have to be working 4 a.m. to 9 p.m. and all of that stuff. And yes, I was working the entire time that I was traveling. And then the visa situation, yeah, there were a couple countries that I needed to apply for a visa. I believe like Japan and Korea, I applied for like just a visitor's visa. I think there was another Southeast Asia country that I had to apply for a visa that was like really time consuming to get. I feel like it was Vietnam, but I do not remember. Europe, I stayed only up to 3 months at a time, stuff like that.
So you could travel like 3 months hypothetically in France, 3 months in Germany, 3 months in Italy.
It's 3 months in the Schengen countries.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. Okay.
Yeah, and then 3 months off, and then so you can do up to 6 months in Europe without an official visa. And I think that's changing soon, but you can only stay 3 months for a 3 month period, and then you have to stop for a 3 month period.
So you have to be there 3 months, leave 3 months, come back 3 months. So
Yeah.
would you go then to a non-Schengen country in the interim?
Yeah. In 2022, it was Puerto Rico, Portugal, Baltimore, Puerto Rico, Netherlands, Italy, Iceland for a week, and then California, Portugal, or Puerto Rico.
Okay. So that's
So
how you did it. I asked that for the audience because I was aware that you could only stay 3 months in a Schengen
yeah,
and then have to leave. So I was just
yeah,
wondering how you navigated that. You did a lot of moving around and you had an online business though, so
yeah,
you could support yourself, which is phenomenal, right?
yeah. Even in 2023, I moved around even more. Like 2022, I was in each place for between 4 to 7 weeks. But then in 2023, like I was in a country for about 3 to 4 weeks, but I was in different cities. Like I think in Vietnam, I was there for 3 something weeks and I went to 9 cities or something like that.
So did you grab Airbnbs then? Is that how you traveled? Is that what you did if you stayed for a longer period of time but moved around within that area?
Yeah, so I did mainly hotels and Airbnbs, especially because in Asia and South America, they were so cheap for me anyway. And I'm just not like running the business and living life in like life while traveling. Being in the hostels was too much change. There was too much movement for me to feel like stable anywhere. And that was something that I was trying to find as much as I could was a bit of stability because you don't have any. That was the biggest difference that I would say in terms of traveling long term versus like vacation traveling and stuff like that would be you're living your life while traveling. It's not like pausing your life to go travel, it's living your life while traveling. So you have all of the real life things, job changes, relationship issues, breakups, makeups, meeting friends, eating, sleeping, taking care of yourself, binge watching TV shows, all of these things that are part of your like normal day to day life, you have while traveling. And so there was like this, I felt this pressure, even though I noticed it in Portugal. The whole time there was this pressure of I'm in XYZ place. Like, I should do this. Like, I was in Japan and I had such a hard time in Japan, lots of emotions, lots of things happening. And I was like, I'm in Japan. I should go out. And I was like, I need to be in bed all day. I need to just rot and just give myself a minute because I've been moving nonstop. And when I'm not
Right.
moving,
That's
I'm
a lot.
working. So that was the biggest, yeah, the biggest adjustment that I think.
So how did you navigate the whole, so Wi-Fi is Wi-Fi, but how did you navigate the phone? Did you have eSIMs in the different countries? Did you get, obviously, if you're just there for a week, is that what you would do? eSIM or Sims, I guess? eSIMs, Sims, whatever, local eSIMs.
So my phone, I had T-Mobile, and my phone did not have compatibilities with eSIMs. I don't remember what was going on with that, but it was just like I tried to get an eSIM when I was in Bali when I first went, and they were like, "Oh, you can't have eSIM." And I was like, or no, sorry. I tried to get a regular SIM, but I didn't have compatibility for regular SIM. I only had eSIM compatible. The eSIM options that I had were pretty expensive. And so I was just, I don't think I need this right now because with T-Mobile, you actually get quite a lot of roaming data because they're a German company. So I just relied on that. And
Gotcha.
6 months into my year of travel, like it resets if you go to the US. So I would go back to the US every place that I could. And yeah, I did not have very much service in most of the places. It was really slow. And so I was just navigating it with it's like a combination of old school, new school. Like I still
Right,
had my
right,
Google
right.
Map, but I had to wait until I had Wi-Fi to access it and stuff and download offline
Okay,
maps,
so
stuff
that's
like
how you
that. Yeah.
navigated it. So tell us where you wound up.
Yeah, I'm in Barcelona last year, or not last year, 2023, going to so many countries. I was really focused on finding a place that felt aligned with myself, that felt aligned with my values and what I like and care about in a place to live. So I call it my country tasting, like a wine tasting,
I
but for
love that.
countries.
I love that
And
so
so
much.
I found Barcelona and I had come here 7 years ago and was like, I could live here. And I got here and within 3 days, I was like, yep, this is it. Like, I still have 6 more months to travel, but mark my words, I'm coming back. And
I'm
so I
home.
did February of last year. So it's just been over a year and it's just the most incredible place. I really love it. I was just walking around earlier today, just feeling like I live here. It's really incredible, this country and this city. I love it so much.
And you're still running your business, so that's how you support yourself. And so did you apply for a residence visa then, or
Yeah, so I got the digital nomad visa,
Gotcha. Okay.
and I applied in Spain. So it's a 3-year visa. If you apply in the US or outside the country, then it's 1 year. But if you come to Spain, it was 3 years. It was the most annoying, horrifying, stressful process because there's just a lot of things that they don't really tell you. It's a new visa, so there's still a lot of things they're figuring out. But because it's a new visa, it's relatively hard to not get approved. I ended up getting a lawyer and she was incredible, super helpful. I would highly recommend applying with a lawyer. It took so much stress off of my plate and she was just fantastic. I would start with a lawyer from the beginning. That is not something I did. And so it took me like I had to leave the Schengen area to extend my time and everything. It was just stressful getting all the documents. And they tell you the documents that you need, but they don't necessarily tell you that they have to be notarized or they have to be verified by XYZ people and all this stuff. And yeah, it was a crazy process, but now I just get to chill for the
Chill.
next 2 more years.
So you got the attorney in Spain?
Yeah.
So you're there for 2 more years. Now, are you doing any traveling since you have been stationary there? Or I'm done for a while and I'm just going to be here. I'm just going to settle and enjoy the moment.
It's a combination of both. I've done some traveling. Last year, I went to Ireland to get out of the
Mm.
Schengen area,
Yeah,
and I went to Norway with my best friend, the one that I met in Portugal, actually, and then to the Netherlands a couple of times to see her. It went back to Puerto Rico for the holidays, stuff like that. This year, yes, I'm going to do some more traveling. I think I'm going to do more kind of weekend hopping trips that aren't so disruptive. So I'm going to London at the end of the month, and then I'm going to Prague in May.
nice.
And yeah, I want to cross off a few more countries that I haven't been to because my goal is to get to 50 before I'm 30. So I think I'm at 38 and I am 27, working on that goal. But right now, my focus is more on building from the foundation because I think while I was traveling, it was everywhere and I didn't really have a solid foundation, which was like by design because I had such a it was a foundation, but it wasn't fun. It wasn't like I was trying to redo all systems
Navigate.
and
Right.
stuff. And now I'm trying to, with my newfound knowledge of myself and the things that I care about and want to focus on, I'm trying to rebuild a foundation that feels more like me and then move. And then I'll start to introduce more of the traveling back in.
So when you did all the traveling, now you're settled at least, but when you did all the traveling, like go every 3 months or even less, did you just pack a suitcase? When you're moving around in a way, you do start accumulating stuff. So did you have one suitcase, two suitcases? Like, how did you navigate all your stuff?
Yeah, you definitely start to accumulate, and I am not a light traveler whatsoever. I'm the kind of person who's, oh, we're going for 4 days, let me pack for a week and a half just to make sure. So when I was traveling in 2022, I had 2 suitcases and a backpack, and then I also accumulated enough stuff to have a fun fact, airlines don't charge for pillows. So I bought a pillowcase and stuffed a ton of clothes into it, but it was so large and so heavy that I couldn't carry it. And so it was very obvious that it wasn't a pillow. So I was carrying that around and everything.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
And yeah, I was the queen of an extra like carabiners on backpacks, and then you attach you attach shoes to the carabiners. I had a plastic bag that I got. It was this giant plastic bag that I got from doing laundry in one of the places in Southeast Asia. And I just had that as like a secondary bag, and I kept it for 4 months just with me. And so I had that when I started the 2023 year of travel. I had a big backpack and a small backpack, and I really liked that, but it was just so heavy. And the backpack that I had technically was a carry-on size, but it was so heavy that I had to just continually check it because like I couldn't carry it on my back.
Right.
I got so ripped traveling just from carrying all of my stuff around.
That's funny.
And then halfway through traveling in 2023, I switched out the backpack for a medium-sized suitcase. And then I continued with that until I moved to Barcelona. Yeah, it was a lots of different combinations of things. Personally, for me, I think the suitcase was the best option. The like one medium-sized suitcase and a backpack. But yeah, I think the backpack was also fine. It was just heavy
Right. It
and
was just heavy.
and
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that, but it was necessary because the first part of the trip I was in Southeast Asia, and so I really needed something to be rolling on the ground.
So then when you get to these countries, do you do a lot of walking? Do you take the public transportation? Obviously, you don't have a car, which in a lot of countries you don't need or you don't want anyway. But is that what you mainly did?
What's my favorite thing in the entire world? It still is one of my favorite things, just putting in music and then going
Hmm.
for a walk. And actually, in Portugal, that was where I started walking, and I used going on different walks and stuff to help with realizations that I had or practice different things like working on caring less about what other people thought of me. So I would go walking around and I would lip sync and dance a little bit while I was walking. And just my dad always says, if you're going to make stuff up, make up what you want to make up, make it up in
Right.
a good way. And
Right.
I would just walk around and be like, oh my gosh, I just look so fantastic. Everybody is looking at me like, who is she? And just building up my confidence because it was
Confidence.
fun to do that.
Yeah.
So I walked a ton. I think on average, I walked between 10 to 15,000 steps a day.
Nice.
Um, I did use public transport, and in South, my favorite mode of transportation was in Southeast Asia using the little scooter. Like you can
Scooters.
call a scooter the way you can call
Yep.
an Uber.
Yep.
And so they just come pick you up, and then I'm like romanticizing the crap out of it. Like, I'm just on the back of the scooter in Asia having
I
the time
love
of my
that.
life. And yeah, those were my main forms of
Transport.
transportation, and then taxis in a pinch and stuff like that.
That's fantastic. So do you get to see your parents? Do they come visit you or your family?
Yeah, so my sister lives in Paris,
Okay.
so it's a little easier to see her. My parents are, like I said, in Puerto Rico, so they're going to be coming in May. My sister is graduating from her master's degree, and so they're coming for that and also coming to Barcelona. My mom hasn't been in like 20 years, so I'm super excited to have her here. And then otherwise, we see each other for the holidays. I think last year I saw my dad in February for 3 hours because he had a layover in the later half of the year, and then I went to Puerto Rico. So we try and see each other as much as we can and everything, but typically it's two-ish times a year that I get to see my
Right.
parents.
Do you talk to them?
Yeah, all the
Yeah.
time.
Nice.
Like, yeah.
That's good.
I think I talk to both of them at least once a week. Typically, I try
Right.
to have that, but yeah, they're very much my sounding boards and everything. And they
That's great.
supported a lot of my decisions and helped me with my business and everything while I was traveling. And so I'm really grateful and feel really privileged to have a family like I do.
And you're still running your business now, right? It's the same business that took you through.
It's shifted a little bit. So I started out doing virtual assistant stuff and then moved more into strategy and execution. So I work with coaches and entrepreneurs to help them like run the business, because
Right.
most of the time what I find is a lot of people who have a great idea for a business, like a coaching business, don't like running a business. And so partnering with them to help them with all the little details and all the strategy and everything behind that. So it's really fun. I really love the people that I work with. I knew from the start that this was the area that I wanted to be in, but didn't have the skills yet to be able to do it. And so I started with the virtual assistant and
Yep.
worked my
And
way up. And
work way
now I
awesome.
work a little bit higher level. Yeah.
That's great. So, Jazzy, maybe share with the audience, with all the travel that you've done, what would you tell somebody that wants to start traveling? What advice would you give from what you've learned in your journey?
I think traveling is the best way to learn about yourself. I think solo travel is super, super important because people are so scared. Oh, I don't know, like, what would I do? And I'm like, if you're going to be bored at home, you could also be bored in another country. Like, you can, like, this fear
Yeah.
of boredom is, yes, I totally get it. But like, you're going to find stuff to do and you really show yourself how capable you are. And it's amazing. I would say if you're thinking about traveling, as much as you can, focus on what you want within the traveling, what you like. Like, for instance, I have a really hard time with food. And so I never travel for food. I travel for nature and for culture and things like that. But food for me is just not a big draw. So when people say, "Oh, you're in XYZ place, you have to try this." No, I do not. I don't want to eat that. Sorry, no. I will stick with my butter noodles.
Yeah.
But where I will spend more money is in my accommodation because I really care about feeling comfortable in the place that I'm staying. And so balancing the things that you really care about because it's your trip ultimately. It's whatever you want to be doing. Your experience doesn't need to be influenced just by, oh, somebody else had amazing experience in this place, so I have to do that. No, you don't. You get to have whatever experience you want to do and you can really tailor the things that you want to tailor to you. And so figuring out what those are, trial and error, but really centering back to that idea of what do I want to be doing and where do I want to be going in a very respectful way of you're in another country, so don't be a jerk kind of thing.
Right.
But like,
Respect the culture and the traditions. And
yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
It's so true. And I love that you said that because my favorite form of travel is solo travel. I feel like not only, like you said, do you get to know yourself better, but you can also, you don't have to worry or be respectful of the other person. Like I always use the example, if I want to go to the Champs-Élysées and sit in a coffee shop for 2 hours and watch people, which somebody that I was talking to, and I said that she said, oh my God, that's the most boring thing in the sun. So we're all different, right? And so choose to do what you like. And I love that you said that because a lot of people do travel because of the food and whatever. And then I'm a city gal. Like I love nature, don't get me wrong. And a lot of big cities have a lot of nature, but you can drop me in any city and I will just all day explore and the culture and the tradition and the smells and the everything. For me, like solo travel is the way to go. So I 100% love that you said that as a young person. And what I really wanted to drive home is that in Germany, after you graduate from high school, which is Abitur, go to school 13 years, a lot of people, not everybody, but a lot of people go 3, 6, 9, even a year and travel the world before they go into college or trade or whatever it is that they do. And I just don't see that often in America. I think it's just a different system, the pressure to go to college or what, it's just different. And I love that you took the time because, like we chatted briefly before last time, in my opinion, nothing broadens the mind more than traveling even if you can't do a year, but even 3 months or even a month traveling, getting to experience different cultures. So in wrapping this up, how, besides of what you shared with the growth, but how do you think that all this travel and being exposed to, what did you say, 30 countries or close to 30 countries, how do you think it really formed you and influenced you as a person, as a young adult in your journey of life?
yeah, absolutely. I think just to go with what you said in the US, we don't focus on travel as much because we're a huge country. Like in Germany, you can easily travel to another country. You're there in a couple of hours. And I'm from California. If you travel a couple of hours in California, you're in more California.
Yeah.
And so I think it's really about pushing yourself to expand, like you just said, expanding your mind. It's seeing the different ways that people actually live unlocks a lot because you're sitting there and you're thinking, or at least I was sitting in the US thinking that this was the only way that
Mm.
I could exist with hustle, hustle, do more as much as you can, be in competition with everybody, just go. And I was like, this really doesn't seem right. And so you go and you travel and you realize in Spain, like from 2 to 5, stores close for a break. Like they don't want to work. And it's not like a lack of hard work. It's just, it's not their top priority, which is
Right.
totally fine.
The
And
quality of
just,
life in Europe in general, I always say, is
yeah,
just, it's just, in my opinion, it's better because of what
yeah.
you just said.
Yeah, and their healthcare also is a big deal. When I was traveling, luckily I didn't have too many things happen, but I had an infection and I had to go to the doctor here in Spain. And I was like, I don't know how much is it going to cost me. I don't have the insurance. It'll be walk in, they're like, oh, you don't have insurance? Okay, it'll be $40. And I was like, oh, okay. And then they gave me the test. They're like, yeah, you have this infection. Go to the pharmacy. They'll give you this. And I was like, okay, like probably going to be rounds of antibiotics and cost me a ton of money, whatever. I get there and they're like, $2.50. It's a
Mm.
little packet that you put in your water, stir it up and drink it. You'll be fine tomorrow. I was like even just that
Yeah.
option is such a higher quality of life. And yeah, I think really just traveling has changed me so much. It's made me
Mm.
more flexible. It's made me able to problem solve better. It's made me more compassionate, understanding, and like I could go on forever about all the ways that traveling has changed me and how I'm so grateful for the opportunity to be able to have done that. It's really it's really priceless. So I recommend everybody travel in whatever capacity you can. Solo travel because you never really have times in your life when you're not compromising with somebody or responsible for something or someone or
Right.
anything like that. It's really freeing to be like, I can do whatever I want today. If I want to stay in bed all day, I can do that because nobody needs me right now. And yeah, it completely changed my life. And even moving abroad too has really changed my life. Meeting
Hmm.
people, met the love of my life in Barcelona and
Oh.
everything. And so it's really, I never found people in California the way I did when I was traveling that just matched my energy so well.
Energy. And I again, I love that you said that because even when we do travel solo, we can be solo, but we don't have to be solo. We never have to be alone unless we choose to. I remember when I traveled to China, people would say to me, "Oh my gosh, you're going to China, you don't know anybody, blah, blah, blah." My son was studying there, but and I was visiting him. He was in school. I didn't see him all the time, and I was doing my own thing. And I'm like, it was the most beautiful thing because I got to experience, and I'd been to China, but not that part of China. And just the culture and everything around it and the people. And it doesn't matter where you are and it doesn't matter what political or what. In the end, people want joy. They want happiness. They want community. They want connection. They want love. And a smile can go so far because the question I get all the time is, oh my gosh. And of course, I work more with people that are a little older than you, but that a lot of them have never been outside of America. They're like, oh my gosh, but I don't speak the language and all these like limiting beliefs. And I get it because it can be scary, but there's that international language that I always say. And in this day and age, when I was young and traveling, I didn't have the apps that we you guys have now. There's the apps, and there's so many different ways that we can communicate even if we don't speak Thai and French and Spanish and German. You don't need to. I love that. This was wonderful, Jazzy. Do you have anything you want to say to wrap it up? Any piece of advice, anything you would tell the audience?
I think just go try it is the biggest piece of advice. Just give it a try. Start small if you need to. Start with a weekend getaway to a town an hour away or something like that. Just flex the muscle a bit, and for it, you'll be step by step, and then we are at the top of the mountain or something.
I love that. That's very true. Jazzy, this has been fantastic. And I'm so glad that you shared your experience, especially from a young person. And if anybody wants to get a hold of Jazzy, And everything will be in the show notes, but do you want to just share if anybody wants to reach out, how to get a hold of you?
Yeah, absolutely. I just redid my website and I'm obsessed with it. It shares a bit more about my story and who I am. So if you want to just check it out and then you could send me like a little note about what you liked and stuff like that, I would love that. You can also find me on LinkedIn, Instagram, stuff like that. But otherwise, go to the website, take
Go.
a look, and send me a message about what you think.
And everything will be linked in the show notes. I'll have Jazzie's LinkedIn and her website and everything in there. Thank you so much, Jazzie. It was so great to have you. So this wraps up another episode of Just Travel with Sandy. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really am so happy that you were here and heard Jazzie's wonderful story. And I really hope it inspired you to take that next step towards travel because the world is vast and it has so much to offer. If you enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to subscribe, share, leave a review. It really means the world to me. And until next time, keep dreaming, planning, and exploring with confidence and stay safe during your next travel. And remember that every journey starts with a single step. Have a great day. Thanks again, Jazzie.
Thank you.